Sahana bhavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. 3. Before we start the 9th chapter, a brief summary of the first chapter we'll see, and then we can go into the next chapter, 9th. The 8th chapter is titled as Akshara Brahma Yoga. This chapter appears in the middle portion of the Gita. As you all know, there are 18 chapters, the Gita, divided into 3 sets. First 6 chapters, 7 to 12 and 13 to 18. In the middle section, the focus shifts from karma to bhakti. In the last portion, again there is a shift from bhakti to jnana. So for all purpose, we can say first 6 chapters he is discussing what is various dimensions of karma yoga. The middle 6 he is discussing bhakti yoga or upasana yoga, you can say. The last 6 jnana yoga. So karma, bhakti, jnana. These are the 3 broad ideas discussed in those chapters. So the difference between this bhakti and karma is, or upasana and karma is, karma accent is more with reference to the physical action. In upasana, it is a mental activity. The accent shifts from physical things to mental. Purely mental one. Only thoughts. You deal only with your thoughts. That is where bhakti starts. In karma, the focus is more with reference to your action, what you are doing, how you are doing it. Doing is the focus. What you are doing, how you are doing, all those aspects were taken care of in karma in the first 6 chapters. Physical activity. Here it is the mental activity. Now in this mental activity, what is he doing is the seeker starts focusing more in terms of the idea of God, not with reference to the form of God. He just moves into the idea. Now that devotion, he classified that into 2. One, devotion with a limited goal, limited ideal. Devotion without any such desires backing it. Desireless devotion. One desire-ridden devotion, devotion with desire, or what is referred as Sakama Bhakti and Nishkama Bhakti. There are two types of bhakti he discussed. Sakama Bhaktas. Nevertheless, they are all Bhaktas only. Now, in that Bhaktas, those who are practicing Sakama Bhakti and Nishkama Bhakti. Now, this Nishkama Bhakti and Sakama Bhakti gives a limited result. Nishkama Bhakti also gives you limited results. By the way, you also get it. That is, comes as a freebies, all your worldly desires getting fulfilled through Nishkama Bhakti. Along with that, Nishkama Bhakti gives one more aspect. That is, you get qualified to gain knowledge. The necessary qualification for receiving knowledge becomes a possibility with that Nishkama. So, first, what he says is, you start practicing this one. In this bhakti format, you follow what? You follow a form. You take a deity. So you pour out your devotion, gratitude towards a chosen deity. To the chosen deity, when you pour your devotion, that is referred as Saguna Brahma Upasana. You are worshipping God. Brahman is God. God with a particular form, with specific qualities, whatever form, whatever qualities that you appreciate. So you go on doing that devotion to that deity. That is classified into two sections. So first one is you worship God with form. That worship of yours is classified into two, with a limited desire. Another one is without any limited desires, which means desire for liberation. So you go to God with the desire for liberation. Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhikshan Dehi Cha Parvati says. You're asking not for profit, not for success. Let the question paper be so easy. But then if it is easy for you, it will be easy for everyone. Right? Then what happens? No, that means what? Understood is, when I'm asking for, let the question paper be easy, it should be easy for me and tough for others. That's understood. You don't have to say that. That is what desire is. When I say I have this desire, that means what? So you can have that desire, whereas the other devotee who is asking, you give that as a bhiksha. What is the bhiksha I want? What I'm begging is not for these things, not for anything worldly. Jnanam and vairagyam I want. Grant me that jnanam and vairagyam. That is a bhiksha I want from you. That person is totally different from these people. You see? So that is a basic classification he makes. But both of them go to God with a particular form, with a particular devata, upasana. That could be Rama, that could be Krishna, that could be this, that could be any god. We don't care. Any god with a form. So Saguna Brahma Upasana happens under two. What is it, sir? Sakama Bhakti and Nishkama Bhakti. When you practice this Sakama Bhakti, what is the effect? Your desires will get fulfilled. And then another desire will come, another desire will come, another desire will come. Nothing is going to happen. Whereas when you graduate to the Nishkama Saguna Brahma Upasana, that's easy in Sanskrit word. That's why I'm just using that same word because it's very simple. See, otherwise, when you translate, it doesn't give you that punch. See, so at least to me, I don't feel there's nothing wrong in that. With qualities, Brahman with qualities, God with qualities. Is nowhere near the idea of Saguna Brahma Upasana. So when you practice that, what happens? Sir, this person is not a jnani, okay? He gets qualified to gain jnana. He's not at a jnani. He's not at, realized. He's not a realized personality or anything. He doesn't get realization also. But what he gains is, he gains that necessary qualification, what is referred as adhikaritvam. The qualification he gets. Once he gets qualified, then he takes that jnana yoga path and he practices whatever the practice is. What is the jnana yoga practice? Sir, jnana yoga means three things: Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasitavyam, says Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya, says. So, how do you do that? This jnana yoga means you take to that jnana yoga abhyasa, where you do listening. Now, don't say, sir, we are all listening to you. Right? You are hearing. Right? Don't say, correct. Therefore, we have crossed all these things. We have come straight to Shravana. No. This Shravana is different. Okay? That Shravana is very different. That qualified personality, after he practices this Sakama Bhakti and then he graduates to Nishkama Bhakti, then he gets that qualification for this Jnana Yoga and he practices this Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, what is that adjustment he makes? He just shifts the Saguna Brahman to Nirguna Brahman. First adjustment is how he looks up. Sakama to Nishkama Bhakti. Desire-ridden devotion to desireless devotion. Whatever the desireless devotion is, don't ask me to explain now all that. Okay. Desireless devotion. Desireless means no desire with reference to the world. No more worldly desires. Desire for acquisition and enjoyment in an easy way to understand. Then what he does, then he changes the very God itself. Earlier he was worshipping God with form and qualities. Now he starts conceiving that possibility of God without form, without qualities. Right? You cannot define that. What is that? That's where the Shravana happening there is very different. Mananam is different there. Nididhyasana is different there. That practice of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana he gets to realize the self. He gets to moksha, which is known as mukti, which is also referred as Jivan Mukti. You get that? Jivan Mukti. Right? This is the general path. So, how do you start? You start with karma, you practice karma yoga, and then slowly you start developing a feeling towards identification and gratitude and devotion. All that starts flowing from you, and that you start consolidating. After consolidation of that, you are ready to receive that knowledge. You receive that knowledge, you reflect on that knowledge, you meditate on that, realize. All this is what is happening. Now, in the 8th chapter, Krishna recommends this is the right method, but in the 8th chapter, he makes a small change, a slightly a different angle of analysis being done. Here, what he is doing is, suppose a person who has not switched over to this Nirguna Upasana, Nirguna Brahma Upasana, let's say, or Jnana Yoga. To put it, Nirguna Brahma Upasana means Jnana Yoga, the pursuit of Jnana Yoga. The one who has not gone into it, but before that, his lifetime is over. What happens? And what happens to the person who is practicing Saguna Brahma Upasana Nishkama? But he is not a jnani, he is still an ajnani. Okay. So, ajnani, because he has not gained that knowledge yet, he has not started the pursuit of Jnana Yoga. So, he is still a ajnani only. So, that ajnani, after death, what happens to him? He says, what happens to that person is he goes to Brahmaloka, gains that knowledge from Brahmaji. There he practices Nididhyasana, Manana Nididhyasana. From there he gets to realization. Okay. What about the person who is practicing Sakama Bhakti? What happens to him? Saguna Brahma Upasana, Sakama Bhakta. What happens to him? He says, he will go to heaven, enjoy his time there, and then come back to next Janma. Which means he doesn't get release from the cycle of samsara. So the category recommended by Krishna is the first category. You do all that and attain that mukti right now. Sadhyo mukti. Get now. Straight away you get that realization, Jivan mukti. Get it here. Get it now. You cannot do that, means you fall into two categories. That's what he referred as the people who go to two paths. The path of the sun and the path of the moon. So, Suklagati and Krishnagati. Those who take to this path and those who go to this path. Now, who goes to the path of the moon? The path of the moon is for a person who is simply doing rituals, karma, does good work, all desire-ridden actions only. His devotion is also desire-ridden. He is only doing that. Of course, he might be having good desires also. Okay, he's not discussing with reference to people who have a bad desires, selfish, self-centered, egoistic, egocentric desires. Not those people. These people, there are people who take to that spiritual path. In that spiritual path, the first thing you has to happen to you is what? You start developing unselfish desires. Because spiritual journey begins with the possibility and conception of an unselfish goal in life. Unselfish purpose you can have to your life. You start with it. But then, because of your pressure of vasanas, desires, you cannot be objectively performing those unselfish action. That is where it becomes unselfish, desire-ridden activity. Just because you have an unselfish cause doesn't make you objective. So you got to practice that objectivity with reference to your efforts to reach that goal, to realize the goal. The starting point is always unselfish. You start with an unselfish idea. You conceive something beyond. Now, what is selfish, unselfish, sir? Easiest way to understand selfish, unselfish is ask only this question. From this action, who is going to be the beneficiary? Who is going to get the benefit? Who is going to enjoy the fruit of my action? My labor, who is going to enjoy that? I work, I earn, I slog and I earn. I slog and earn. Who is the beneficiary? Like you go abroad, you come back. When you come back from abroad, some relative comes back from abroad. Singapore, those days they'll say, Singapore, Dubai, from Middle East, somebody comes. When they come from Middle East also, some from abroad, then they come. What is the benefit of the neighbors? Benefit is Toblerone chocolate. One chocolate. Singapore na scent. You see, either you get scent or you get chocolate. That's all the benefit is. You labor there and you earn so much. Who is the beneficiary of that? Me and my family. Family means my immediate family, including my wife, my children. If you are extraordinary personality, you will include your parents also. My father, mother, brother, sister, cousin, chocolate. All chocolate category. What is the benefit for those people? Chocolates. Only difference is what? They will get more chocolates, a bigger size. Neighbor will get a smaller size and they will get a bigger size. Nothing else is going to be the benefit. You slog, but find out more the number of people going to have an access to your labor's fruit, the fruit of your labor, more unselfish your effort is. You work in such a way that you work for a purpose, you work with an idea that the fruits of your labor is royally being accessible to them, not out of your decision. Remember, just because you come back from abroad doesn't mean the neighbor can walk into your house and ask for a chocolate. That also you have to call and give them. That's it. You see, they only their act, the possibility is only that much for them. They don't have the right to come and open the briefcase. What have you brought? Whereas your child can rush in. The child will not ask, you are so tired, you are coming from US, I heard that it is 36 hours flight and that got delayed. So now it is 42 hours. You must be so tired. You must be having, Allah will not say, what have you brought for me? Open the suitcase first. Right royally, they will have an access as a matter of right. When you say, I am doing unselfish action, that means who are all the people who are having such an access? This is why we don't teach Vedanta to people. Because 99.999 percentage will not pass this test. And unselfishness, this is the easiest test to pass. To say whether you are unselfish or selfish. Easiest test, basic test. See, 1st class. Spiritual education, you want to start first standard. Syllabus is this. You fail in this itself means forget it. And then comes all other, higher dimensions of life. Now, what happens here is you start with that ideal. You conceive. If you go back to your early stages, when you wanted to do, that is why you will see all the kids, you ask them, what do you want to become? All of them will say, I want to become a doctor and serve the society. I want to become a doctor and serve the society. I'm not saying you mean to say others are not serving. Huh? Service means only doctors are service. Huh? Chartered accountants are not serving. They also serve. Lawyers are not serving. They are also serving. But you ask all the teenagers, very interesting to see. All the teenagers, that early teen, they speak such idealism. They speak such idealism. It is so interesting to meet. It's so inspiring to see also. Such promising have. By and by, what happens? Let me get settled. Then we can talk about all other things. And by the time you get settled, you are already retired. And then you say what? After retirement, what to do? One fellow asked, question. Sir, how to identify Swadharma? 85. Yes. 85, he is asking, how to identify my Swadharma, so that after knowing my Swadharma, I will start practicing karma. Because he says in the Gita, 3rd chapter, Swadharme Nidanam Shreya, says, so I have to do Swadharma. So please tell me, sir, how do I know my Swadharma? I said, your Swadharma is to wait. Fortunately, he didn't ask me for what. What's your Swadharma? Wait. Waiting is your Swadharma. Of course, you can escape. They also serve who stand and wait. That's what I referred. If you people imagine something else, that's your mistake. I meant is only that. You have to wait. But wait means what? They also serve who stand and wait. They're doing great service. See, like that. Now, higher forms of unselfishness is far more difficult. Easiest one is to see who are all the beneficiaries of your endeavor. Beneficiaries, not in the sense of if you alone, not in that sense. Right royally, they can have that fruits of your labor. They have access straight away to it. Only then we can call it as unselfish. Once you start that unselfishness, your mind has a natural tendency to get attached to any action. If you do those things in an objective manner, then you belong to a different category. Right? Here, the category is you have taken unselfish, ideal, you got involved, another category. Then he says there is an in-between category. What is that? Most of the activities were all done objectively. But just, missed few places where he lost his objectivity, got involved. Again, in what he gets involved only with reference to unselfish action only, not selfish. Because selfish actions cannot be performed objectively. Okay. Remember that. That is the thumb rule. Objectivity is possible only in selfless. You can attempt with unselfishness. When you perfect it, it becomes selfless. So, objective performance of unselfish action, not able to perform objectively, gets involved. Total involvement and a partial involvement. The total involvement goes through the path of moon. Then partial involvement goes through the path of the sun. Path of the sun takes you to Brahmaloka. There you gain this knowledge and then get here. But recommendation is what? Krishna's recommendation is straight realization. But in the chapter, he has to bring in this idea. Why? Not because Krishna wanted to speak about it, because Arjuna posed that question in the beginning of the chapter. The beginning of the 8th chapter, he asked 7 questions to Krishna, referring to few terminologies, of which to 6 questions Krishna gave one-word answer. Tak, 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 he finished. He said, what is this Adhyatma? This is the question of Arjuna. Arjuna asked this question. What is Adhyatma? What is Adi Bhuta? What is Adi Deva? What is Adi Yajna? What is Karma? And at the time of death, how to think of you? Teach me. To which first 6 questions Krishna answers quickly, because those things are more of a textbook questions. What is Adhyatma? Adhyatma is that all-pervading consciousness, that is Brahman. Brahman is Adhyatma. Right. Then you have this Adi Bhuta. Adi Bhuta is the elements. The space, air, fire, water, earth. The primeval elements. They are this Adi Bhuta. This is the answer. Then what is this Adi Deva? Adi Deva is the presiding deity. Is the Adi Deva. And then he says this Adi Yajna. Adi Yajna is the effect, part of that adhyatma. If you take that example, it will be a little easier, just for the ideas, okay? Because this term adi keeps coming, so you may lose the whole thing. The sun above is Brahman, is what is referred in another name as adhyatma. Now, don't ask me, well, you could have mentioned it as Brahman only. No. Now we give names, that's all. Depending upon the context, we have. Like in your house, for everyone, with reference to my wife, I am a husband. With reference to daughter, I am father. With reference to mother, I am son. Now, are you son, husband, father? I am all. I am neighbor, friend, enemy also, right? A teacher, student, citizen. Now, the state will call me citizen. State will not call me son. That will not call. A friend will call me a friend. So names are many. So there's no necessity that it has to have. So this Brahman is what is referred as Adhyatma, the sun above. Then there is a reflecting medium. The reflecting medium is the Adi Bhuta. Okay, the mirror. And inside that mirror, there is a reflected sun. There is one sun above, and there is one more sun. There are two suns. Another one is there in the mirror. The reflected sun is what is referred as the Adi Deva. So there is that all-pervading consciousness. That consciousness comes. There we have a particular sun ray. One ray of the sun comes and strikes the reflecting surface. That particular ray is referred as Adi Yajna. So you got to visualize the sun. There is a bucket of water, let's say. That water is the Bhuta. The Adi Yajna is that particular sunlight coming and striking the surface. There you see another sun, reflected sun. And that sun ray coming and striking and creating the reflected sun is called karma, the creative urge. Right. 6 points over. Then he goes on to explain the other aspects. Then he comes to the explanation of what is this Adi Bhuta, Adi Yajna, Adi Deva, Adhyatma, Karma. Over. Next question is Prayana Kala. At the time of death, when I'm parting, when I'm leaving the body, how to think of you? To which he said, the last thought of yours determine where you are going to go, what is going to happen next. Immediately all of us get, Appa, sir, we can cancel the class, we can take off and get on with our thing. Netflix. We show to Netflix. Why? At the time of death, I have to do is what? Narayana, problem solved. Straight Vaikuntha entry. Yeah. It doesn't work like that, he says. Why? That's why you need that preliminary knowledge. This is why we say when you're reading Bhagavad Gita, you read that verse, it'll look exactly like that. He says, at the time of death, whatever thought you are getting, you will go there only. You think of God there, you go there. You think of Shiva, you go to Shiva Loka. You go think of Narayana, you go to Vaikuntha. Now, Narayana, you say Shiva Loka will not be given to you. Right? Each one have got their own country, domain. Only to that country you will be allowed. To think of Christ, where you will go? You will go to the Christian heaven. You can't be coming to, Jewish heaven. Right? The Jews will go to Jewish heaven. He will go to his heaven. He will go to his heaven. And hell, all of them will go to one hell only. There's no distinction. Everyone. Hell is same for everyone. Hell, selfish activity means you go to hell. Unselfish means you go to heaven. In unselfish, various options are there. Depending upon that, you go. But what determines that is your last thought. Then comes the investigation. He says, no, man, it is not just the last thought. Why? That last thought will not come to you by itself. Because in the initial stages of our life, entertaining a thought is based on your decision, your choice. Initially, that's your choice. Over a period of time, what happens? Thought arises by itself. You do not entertain it by choice. It comes on its own. Like habit. In the beginning, when you picked up that first cigarette, the second cigarette, the third cigarette, the fourth cigarette, initial stages, if you take whatever the number is, I don't know, that number will vary from person to person. But initial 4 or 5 months of you smoking is a matter of choice. Right? After about 10 years, smoking is not a matter of choice. It's a matter of compulsion. You're compelled. You're forced to smoke. Same way, any thought, anything, everything in life, the starting point is a choice. At the beginning, your decision. By decision, you can entertain. But over a period of time, your ability to decide starts dropping. In a technical language, initially it is your free will, Purushartha. Later on, Prarabdha, your vasanas. Free will and vasanas. Initial stage is a free will. As you grow older, what happens? Your free will, your willpower gets weaker and weaker and weaker as you grow old. Your willpower comes down. Willpower in the sense not that, pigheadedly holding on to something. That's not what is referred willpower. Willpower is by decision you can change. You see, by decision you cannot. For example, by decision can you get detached? That is not possible. You have to put in effort. You got to work. You got to slog to get detached. By decision you can't renounce. By decision you can't grow. That's not possible. Growth is not going to be happening by your decision. Growth can happen only with your effort, abhyasa. You see, you can't decide and say, mind, think. Now, today, what is the condition of your mind? What you say to the mind, don't do, it will do. And what you are telling the mind to do, it will not do. Don't think of a monkey, it will think of monkeys only. Think of God, it will not think. Try. It's an amazing exercise to try this. Just to have that thought. Repetition is possible. You can go on saying, Soham, 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 Soham. You start with Sanskrit Soham and end in Tamil Soham. In Sanskrit, Soham has a different meaning. Here am I. In Tamil, Soham means sorrow. So you start with that and end with what? You start from the north and end in south. Soham. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about entertaining the thought that here am I. Not easy. Therefore, your last thought cannot be willed by you. You cannot will that last thought. It has to happen. If that last thought has to happen, and if that last thought were to be a God thought, and that thought has to happen, what you need to do? Attend all Vedanta class. Only my Vedanta class, okay? That also will stay. No Vedanta will be allowed. Only my Vedanta. Doesn't matter. You have to practice, put in that effort. So how do you influence that thought, sir? Develop good vasanas. How do you develop good vasanas? When you are having that willpower, exercise that willpower to entertain those thoughts. Through those thoughts, Ananya Chinta, Ananya Bhakti, he says, you gain. You are not able to achieve that, you will get Krama Mukti. Don't worry about it. Then immediately in the 9th chapter, he switches back to his idea. Krama Mukti na waste of time. Why? Brahmaloka, you have to go and wait there, listen to the same discourse there. Again, same thing. I say, sir, how can you listen to the same thing? I said, you are listening to him once a year and you are getting bored. This man is saying the same thing for 65 years. Hmm? Example also same. I said, how can a man have? I said, at least example now you have to change, no? 2 plus 2 equals 4. At least instead of 2 apples, 4 apples. Instead of that, say orange, no, at least. 2 orange, no. 65 years back, 2 apples, 4 apples. Now also what? 2 apple, 2 apple. Same thing, man. How can you go on and on and on? I say that's impossible. It is humanly not possible. It is not a human possibility. You know, then what is it like? I don't know. But definitely, no human can go on saying the same thing. You know, how is that? That is called depositing the thoughts. Little by little, keep on depositing, like mutual fund investment. Earlier you start, greater the benefit. But only thing is what? You got to consistently keep investing every month. Even a small amount is enough. You don't need to invest huge money. Not required. Little bit. Little thing that you have, keep invest. I'm not having any financial consultancy and all that. I don't know which one is it. The general mutual fund. Which fund I have no idea. Right. There are mutual funds you lose also. But in this deposit, rich dividends you get. The last one you get is this. So in the 8th chapter, he says this. Then he moves to the 9th chapter. He completes this. The path of the sun, the path of the moon, all that is over. And then he said, don't get involved only with this man. Go to direct realization, Kaivalya Mukti. Krama Mukti is boring. Go for Kaivalya Mukti. If you have to go for Kaivalya Mukti, what you need to do, how you have to go about it, is where the next chapter comes. The title is the best. See, these chapters, every chapter, I don't know who gave that, titles for the chapter. Because when Krishna spoke, Krishna is just, speaking. You see, just continuous talk, continuous, conversation. 2.5 hours. Because if you sit and do the chanting, it takes 3 hours. When you speak, it will not take that much time, And I'm sure Krishna must be a very, fast. It's like Krishna speaking will be something like, this Anthony Robbins. I don't know how many of you have had a chance to listen to him. Anthony Robbins. He's there in YouTube. You can check. He's one of the, public speaker. He speaks so fast. So fast. Because that's a mark of intelligence. And Krishna is far more intelligent than Anthony Robbins. How fast he must be speaking. In 1 hour, he would have finished the entire Bhagavad Gita. Spoken of. Goes. Then it is Vyasa, when he wrote that whole thing, he divides that into those classifications, chapter titles. And the 9th chapter is titled Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga. The yoga of royal knowledge and royal secret. Raja is royal, kingly. Vidya, knowledge. Raja, Vidya. Guhyam means secret. Again, Raja, royal. royal secret. That yoga of royal knowledge and royal secret. There's about 34 verses we have. The royal knowledge means it just the highest, very powerful. There is nothing superior to that. The highest point. That's why it is referred as royal knowledge. Also, we say it is a royal secret. This is the best. Royal secret. Now, secret means what? Secret means you can type. Secret means what? Anybody? Typing access irka? Secret means no one else knows it. Correct. Don't say no one knows. If nobody knows, it is unknown. It's not a secret. Only one person knows. If two people know means what? No more secret. If two fellows know, and particularly those two were to be a lady, forget it. If you want to spread the news, all that you have to do is what? Call a lady and tell her, secret yaarthi sollada. You go to office and come back, whole colony will know. That's the secret means only one person knows. Right? No one knows means unknown. Okay. Royal secret, na? Amazing idea. What is that royal secret? You cannot say you know, nor can you say you don't know. This is neither known nor unknown. That's called a royal secret. You know. At the same time, you don't know also. This royal secret. That's why these people, people have misunderstood this idea of secret. They thought secret means it should not be told to anyone. So, Vedanta is royal secret. Therefore, what you should do, don't teach to anyone. Now, keep it to yourself. Keep it a secret. Give, or else at best immediately, you should give it only to qualified people, sir. And unqualified people, you should not give this knowledge to them. Don't teach this to people. Keep it to yourself. That's not the idea, please. Means it is not known to a common man. Even if you are told, still you will not understand. That is called a royal secret. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not the intellect. You are yourself. That self, the art. Attach, you lose. Detach, you gain. You have any problem in understanding this? Hmm? The way to gain anything is to lose it. Any problems? Every word you will know. But what is the idea communicated there? That we will never know. That is why it is referred as royal secret. A secret means I know, only one person knows it. When he tells another person, they understand. Now, here, even if you say to the other person, even if you give it to the other person, even if you explain to the other person, he will receive it, he will nod his head and say, understood? Understood. He'll never say, no, I have not understood. He'll say, what? I have understood. Attachment spells sorrow. Stress is internal, not external. Only a meditative mind can meditate. You can't achieve a meditative mind through meditation. Correct, sir. Understood? Understood. And after class, where are you going? So next week I can't come to the class. Why? We have a meditation class. Hey, just now you heard, right? Correct. Swamiji is correct. You should not do this. Right? God is everywhere. Love. Identification. What is love? Identification. Textbook answer. 2 marks you will get for that. What is love? Identification. Life is to give. Yeah, give. What is the problem? Is there any problem in giving? Okay, money you can't give. Okay, at least give good words, no? Huh? Spread good words, no? At least. You are miserly. Why do you have to be so miserly? You praise someone, praise, no, fully. Why do you have to be, conjuice? Even in words, you are so conjuice. Appreciation you give with such conjuice, you are in appreciation. Any problem in understanding this? No problem, sir. Now what are you going to do? You read and read and read and read and read. World is illusion. Maya. And then the fellow is fighting with the auto guide. Your meter is not correct. The difference is 5 rupees. And before that only he gave that lecture, not attended a lecture. He gave a lecture on illusion, explained how the world is just mithya. Mithyatvam, Maya and Mithya, all that, fantastic exposition on Mithya. And then he says what? That is called a royal secret. The secret is known to you, unknown to others. A secret. Known to me, unknown to others is called a secret. Royal secret is known to you and unknown to you. அது எப்படி சார் இருக்கும்? Is there? No. Known to you. Now you can't say that I don't know. Tattvamasi. World is illusion. You can't say I don't know world is illusion. I thought world is real, sir. No, you have studied. You have learned this knowledge. You have studied the book. You have attended the lectures. You said that you have understood it. Suppose if you say no, I have not understood, then it is okay. I'm not clear about it. Attachment. I have no clarity on what is this attachment. I have no clarity on how my intellect is held a hostage by my mind. I'm not clear about it. I'm not sure about it. But you give a fantastic lecture, pond. My beak is pointed, their beaks are round. Is that any reason that I should be drowned? And outstanding explanation also you can give. How are you able to speak all that? You're able to speak, say all those things because you have the knowledge. If you're not having the knowledge, how can you say? You know it. At the same time, you have no clue about it. Now, how do you have both together, sir? Is where the beauty of the chapter is. Is going to explain that. Now, more details are coming. When we go there, we will see more. It's just, we are only seeing the introduction today. What is the title? I'm just explaining the title. The highest knowledge that you can ever gain. You get so inspired. Raja Vidya. I'm going to gain the knowledge. I'm going to study the chapter. Next, immediately he says, Raja Guhya. That means even after studying the 9th chapter, you will know the 9th chapter and still you will not know the 9th chapter. இதுக்கு எதுக்கு சார் படிக்கணும்? First time, when I heard this, I said we can skip the chapter because the title itself is what? It's like this. So depressing, title. But if you get a hang of it, it's so inspiring. The title itself is so inspiring. Yes. Raja Vidya Raja Guhya. Yoga. 34 verses are there. This 34 verses in the chapter divided into 4 topics. Now, essentially, what he is giving is these ideas are there because without the topic division, it will be difficult to understand what is the content in the chapter. You see, this is another, a humongous task and a great contribution. Without this, it would be almost impossible to follow the thought flow. This is meant for people who are serious studying. Not that, I also want to study Bhagavad Gita. Not for those people. This is designed for people who are committed to gain this knowledge, who is really serious about it. For them it is. First 1 to 10 explains how the self pervades the world. How that Brahman is pervading the whole world. How it's existing and what is the knowledge. What is the nature? What is the Swarupa of the self, Brahman? And how this is existing everywhere. 1 to 10. Then from 11 to 19, the deluded disregard the self, wise glorify and seek the self. The deluded fellows, they don't pay any attention. They just, dismiss it. Waste of time. This is not for me. First, let us worry about Corona. Then we can talk about all these things. First, let's discuss about Olympics now. I'm not saying you should not discuss. But deluded person. Immediate. His concentration is on the immediate. He never sees beyond the immediate. That is what is deluded means. One attains what one strives for. That Ananya Bhakti. What you are striving, what you are working, your dedicated efforts will take you to what you are working on. Where you are working. For what you are working, that is what you will get. 20 to 28. Dedicated effort leads seekers, even the unrighteous, to self-realization. That portion is the most important one, relevant for all of us. Very promising one. Even the unrighteous. You can say, sir, if you want to pick up one worst person from Bangalore, I will be number one in that. You know, even if you say that, he says you have a hope of reaching the state of realization. But what is needed for that? Dedicated effort, that concerted, sustained effort, that sustained effort. Take up and do, take up and do, take up and do. The specific one you take up and complete and then go to the next. Take up one, complete and go to the next. This is how the seeker works. That's a way to achieve success in the world, also in the spiritual field. You commit yourself to one thing, pursue. It doesn't matter where you stand right now. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Over a period of time, you become an expert. This holds good for any aspect. So, all dimensions, the rule is the same. The 34 verses. Royal knowledge, royal secret. We'll take up the verses from the next class. Thank you. Hari Om.